Hey everybody, welcome back to Mindful and Mellow. Today I wanted to share some small habits that you can implement in your life that will really change it for the better. I'm speaking from experience because a lot of these that I'm showing behind me are habits that I've implemented in my own personal life. I try to abide by these on a daily basis. I don't always hit them all, but I hit many of them. And I'm hitting them all each week. It's really improved my life, my quality of sleep, just the way I view the world and the way things come about and happen for me, right? So first is your morning routine. I like to start the morning off with a small meditation. So get out of bed, do a meditation. Could be anywhere from like 10 to 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes there's a little bit of a rush in the morning. You don't have time to spend that much time on it. It happens from time to time, but it does help me kind of get out of bed in the morning and set the tone right away by focusing on the things that are important to me, the things that I want, and just the general, that everything is working out for me, okay? So that's one thing there. The second one is a small change that I implemented more recently, which is start the day before you have any coffee, which is usually what my routine has been. Before I have coffee, start off the day with a glass of warm water, and I put lemon juice in it. Now it doesn't have to be fresh lemon, can be. I just buy those plastic lemons and just squeeze those in there. So what that does, that warm water with lemon, it does activate your digestive system. So it starts waking up your body. Your body responds better to water, and it just kind of jumpstart it rather than just dumping some hot coffee in there. So I found that has improved my stomach. I think it makes my stomach feel better throughout the course of the day. I have, less reaction to some of the foods that we eat and some, things along that line. So I do feel that I'm also starting the day off with being a little bit full because I've had all that water. So I don't drink as much coffee, which is definitely a benefit there. The next one here we'll talk about is affirmations. So affirmations, I've recorded my own. There's a number of them out there. But these are just positive affirmations to kind of reinforce your mindset, right? So we can easily start thinking about yesterday's problems, the things that are not working out for us, the troubles and tribulations that we have in front of us. But the reality is, when you focus on affirmations, you can affirm that things are always working out for you. That's one of my first things. I always say, everything, all is well, and everything is always working out for me. And I just find that the more I say that, the more I believe it, the happier I am, and the more I see evidence of those occurring in my life. So, see where I'm going with that? So, you don't have to necessarily do these first thing in the morning. You can do these whenever it's convenient, really. Sometimes I listen to them while I'm getting ready in the morning, if I'm taking a shower or if I'm, shaving. Some of those things when it's just in the background and I'm kind of listening to it and I say them out loud. It's wonderful to also look at yourself in the mirror and say them out loud and look yourself in the eye, because that really kind of makes it real, but it also allows you to kind of see, how do I respond physically when I say something like, all is well and everything is always working out for me. So if you feel good, then okay, that's wonderful, and that's kind of, you'll see more evidence of things working out for you in your day-to-day life. But if you have a sense of disbelief, you might be able to unpack that a little bit more. If you say something like, whatever it is, but if you make affirmations and you feel like a negative feeling, maybe there's some sort of underlying belief that you've had that's kind of keeping something at bay. So it's really worth kind of understanding how you feel when you say something out loud, okay? Next, we have daily exercise. Now, I like to personally exercise in the morning. I like to go to the gym in the morning. I do like to do this after my meditation, after I've had a little bit of coffee, go to the gym, get a workout in, listen to some things that I really enjoy listening to. Now, not everybody is going to want to listen to some of these things at the gym. Sometimes I listen to podcasts. Sometimes I listen to affirmation tapes. There's a ton of things on YouTube, and then there's also a lot of things just in Spotify too. There's some great channels, and there's some amazing ones out there. I'd be happy to kind of share some of those with you as well. But just getting out, being physically active does inherently always lift your mood up. So that's certainly wonderful to see. The second thing, or the fourth thing, is protein intake. Now, I think I'm not a dietitian or anything like that. However, a lot of the physical trainers will say, you really should be getting a lot of protein in your diet. And the reality is most of us are not. So I've become more conscious and aware of protein that I'm taking in through things like Greek yogurt, through things like cottage cheese, through other proteins, whether it be chicken, salmon, fish, whatever the case might be, right? Any of those things. Now, I do supplement mine with a protein shake. So I have a protein shake in the morning that I found is actually really a great way to start the day. So I will use some chocolate protein powder. I will mix in with some Greek yogurt, half a banana, because I don't want to use a whole banana. Sometimes I'll even use spinach. Sometimes I'll use a little bit of peanut butter, and certainly like other types of fruits. So I do like to use strawberries, blueberries, that kind of thing as well. So definitely is a great way to kind of start the day. And it does allow me to be more successful in my gym endeavors, right? Build and retain more muscle, which I think is good for the long term too, right? So we know as we age, we tend to lose muscle mass. And sometimes in losing that muscle mass, it doesn't negatively impact our bodies. So it certainly is desirable to maintain as much muscle as you can as you get older, regardless of what age you are at. If you're trying to bulk up, certainly a great way to build, to do that is to increase your protein intake. There's various guidelines on how much you should be consuming from different trainers and dietitians and things, but inherently I have found that has made me feel much stronger, but I don't have a lot of the aches and pains that a lot of people that are starting to experience in their late 30s and 40s. Then lastly, the bedtime routine is particularly important. So certainly like as you're nearing your bedtime, it's good to have a routine bedtime. I struggle with that personally a little bit. I like to stay up late if I have nothing in the next morning, if I'm not working. But it's also found it's very good to ease down. What I don't have here is easing off of social media. So cut down on your time on social media, on the apps, Instagram, Facebook, that sort of thing, as bedtime nears. I found it to be incredibly relaxing to do some yoga beforehand. I primarily use the Down Dog app, which has a yoga app and function, but I also do a lot on YouTube. So there's a lot of great videos out there, and some of them are geared towards winding down the day. So some of them, like, they're not, they can help you ease into the bedtime routine. So doing that in a darkened room, sometimes like with a candle lit, is just incredible for me. Is incredibly relaxing, stretches out my body, and I'm kind of able to wind down the day. And so when I get into bed, I am very tired and I fall asleep naturally and quickly. The other thing here too is just what are we consuming as we're nearing bedtime anyway? It's certainly not a good idea to eat a whole meal shortly before bedtime, but I have found that fiber is certainly a good thing. Now I've started using Metamucil, so I do find that that does kind of it's filling. So I do feel like I am pretty full as I am like winding down the day. It doesn't taste bad, but I also found that it promotes just the regular activity, right? My digestive system, which does lead me to have more energy, so I don't feel sluggish. I don't feel any issue with that. So that's certainly been helpful to me. The other thing that I try to do more and more, and frankly, I don't do this every day. I mean, I like to, but I don't. I'm working towards that, is consuming some sort of like tea, right? So like a mint tea, a peppermint tea, a mint tea, various varieties out there. They do help with bloating, right? So if you go out and you have a big meal, sometimes, I've always kind of said, oh, I'd love a cup of coffee after that, right? Or a cocktail, which is fine, right? But at the end of the day, any bloating that you might be feeling, particularly after a big meal or a lot of, like maybe a high carb meal, can be mitigated by having some mint tea. So I will, sip on a glass of mint tea before I go to bed, or even earlier. I think anytime, it really doesn't necessarily matter. And that does help remove and address some of the bloating and the fullness that you feel. So I found that to be incredibly helpful. So these are things that have worked out for me. I share them because I find them to be very important. Now, we know something about habits. It takes a long time to build a habit, and some people will say, up to 90 days for something to become a habit, implementing your daily routine. So it does take time. Not all of these are like I said, I don't do them every single day because frankly, sometimes time just gets away from me, and I'll stay in bed a little bit later in the morning, and I don't have time for a meditation. But I do try to do these things during the course of the day. So it is great to step out for a brief meditation if you can during the middle of the day. In the evening time, it's certainly good. I struggle sometimes doing them in the evening time because I will fall asleep. So, which isn't bad if that's your goal. There certainly can be a lot said for falling asleep to a meditation or in a meditative state. and focused on all the great things that are happening that are available to you, that are going on in your life, and expressing gratitude and appreciation. So these are just some great things that work for me. What's worked for you? By all means, drop those down in the comments down below. I'd love to read more about those. And certainly I've got different yoga channels and other things that could be valuable to you. Happy to share those if there's any interest. So with that, thank you for being here. We'll be back again soon.